After finishing the seminar, Bilingualism, Society and Education, I got really beneficial insights in terms of the teacher who I am today, in terms of my teaching profile. Because nowadays I'm more aware of the importance that the roots and the past have in my teacher cognition. And what a better way of exploring my roots than coming back to them. So, if I have to reflect on my roots, why not coming back to the place in which I grew up, to the very beginning of my life? I lived here for 8 years, basically when I was in elementary school, and I not only experienced the academic process in the school, I also learned a lot of things with my grandparents, because for example my grandparents taught me a lot of things that have to be with the farm, with the coffee plants, with the plantains. And my grandmother taught me about history. Every afternoon we started to talk about the history of Colombia. So all of those aspects contribute to my teacher cognition, because I learned that it is not only being in the school. There are different aspects that contribute to the learning process of a person. Because in this place I was in peace, I was happy, and I was enjoying the life. So that's the most meaningful stage of my life. For that reason, if a student is enjoying the learning process, not only in the school but in their house, they are going to achieve very good results.
Acerca del café, desde que esté haciendo calorcito, uno lo amontona y el mismo calor del café seca. Al estar ahí amontonado, entonces se concentra el calor y
Se preserva más rápido.
Sí.
Se seca más rápido. Me acuerdo que me enseñó a trizarlo así, hacerle fuerza con las manos para ver si ya estaba nada. Coming back to my roots, I studied in my elementary school in this school. I studied here for basically 4 years. And being honest, I didn't learn a lot. I just, when I entered 5th grade in the urban school in the town, I just was able to say the numbers from 1 to 9. And in that moment, I had an exam in which I should tell the numbers from 1 to 100. So there was a really just change in my learning process. And in that moment, I realized that I should improve English. So maybe my teacher cognition in that moment was affected, because I noticed that teaching in the elementary schools in the rural areas is not as well as it should. However, in that school, I had autonomy. I learned to do a lot of things. I learned to interact with other people, to have a really good interaction. I was happy because I was free here. I enjoyed with my friends. I played a lot. I enjoyed that instant. So maybe that's a notorious difference. Maybe I didn't achieve a lot academically, but I was able to interact with other people and to reinforce another values that are important for life, and values that absolutely frame and shape my teacher cognition nowadays, that shape the teacher who I am today, because that experience helped me to reflect upon what does the student need. Does the student need learning a lot? Does the student need just filling their mind with knowledge, or they should enjoy the school process? They should be happy and play a lot as me and the elementary school. So sometimes in my teacher cognition there is a confrontation, because sometimes I want the students to enjoy the process and not being stressed for academic things because they are just children. But sometimes I'm aware of the importance of the academic development in their lives, and the importance of learning English. So that's why I always try to link those aspects, helping them to enjoy the process, helping them to be encouraged with the process, but also learning, because it's really important for their development. Because from child I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to achieve, and in the same way other students, other people have different goals in life, have different dreams. The learning process is fundamental to achieve those goals. So that's why reflecting in my roots, thinking about my roots, thinking about how was it when I was a child, helped me to be the teacher who I am today. I studied here the 5th grade, and even though this is an abandoned school nowadays, this was fundamental and contribute to my teacher philosophy, because now I identified that the strategy that they used in that moment didn't work that well. Basically because those strategies were memorizing and the grammar translation approach. So it doesn't work because the society have changed. The people learn in different ways nowadays. So for that reason, this experience helped me to reflect how I wouldn't like to teach anymore, because we cannot repeat those cycles that makes the students feel bored and overwhelmed with the way we teach them. The journey have finished. I have already visited my roots. I have already finished the seminar. I have already reflect a lot upon the insights that I got throughout this process. And it is that even though I learned in a specific way, I don't want to repeat that kind of strategies, because students are the center of education. We as teachers are facilitators. So what we want to achieve is reducing the inequality. We want to reinforce social justice. So if we want to do that, we should place students in the center with all the information and all the process that we want them to develop. Another insight that I got throughout this process of studying the seminar is that sometimes the communicative purpose is achieved. So sometimes we should not correct students immediately, because what happens is that they are not going to feel that they are achieving something correctly, but they should improve something. But what's happening in their mind sometimes is that they are doing wrongly everything. So in that way, that's something that I want to change, and it is not correcting student in that moment, but saying them later what they should improve, some mistakes that they have, and doing that they are going to feel better and they are not going to feel awkward by the feedback
that we are giving to them. So I want to remember always that feedback should be positive.